Hey guys, this is Frenzy, bringing you a game from Intel Extreme Masters. It's a semifinals game between dkiLLeR spawning as the yellow Zerg in the left position, and DRG spawning as the red Zerg in the right position. It's going to be a Zerg versus Zerg in the other semifinals. And I have to say that DRG is probably going to win this series pretty straightforwardly. I don't think kILLeR is actually going to be able to compete at the same level as DRG is at right now. But we'll have to see. DRG is known for his Zerg versus Terran, not a Zerg versus Zerg. But I would have to say a Zerg versus Zerg has to be pretty refined to be able to compete in the GSL. So we're going to see a speedling opening from kILLeR and a fast hatchery from DRG. So DRG playing a little bit risky in the early game here. But he should be able to defend just fine, considering that it's a speedling opening and not anything lower than a 10 pool. At the same time, we see two guys still in gas for kILLeR. This generally means banelings, but it can also mean roaches, but it's probably going to be some sort of a one-base play. Before he expands, he's going to build something here. And most likely it'll be banelings. He's also going into 3 gas, and because there's no roach horn up quite yet, it will definitely be banelings. And there the baneling nest goes down. So he's going to have to do a lot of damage here. And what is DRG going to do in response? It looks like a baneling nest of his own. So we're going to see some Ling baneling micro in the early game of this game here on dual site. So this Scantipede better get out of the way because a baneling explosion might kill him. And somewhere on this map there is an invincible llama, but I can't quite find it. There the invincible llama is, right down there. Zoom in before all the battles start to take place. Okay, so we see a spine crawler being produced. This is his timing window. He's got about 10 seconds before DRG's baneling nest does finish. And we already see a lot of queens hanging out at the ramp because of the fact that he can block this off if there's any baneling aggression. Now we see 4 banelings being produced right now, and DRG getting a baneling of himself. Looks like 2 banelings, and that's really what you need. You need 2 banelings to kill an amount of banelings of your opponent. It takes 2 banelings to kill 1 baneling. But because they do splash damage, you can kill as many as are clumped together. So generally you see 2 banelings being sent in groups, and then you don't want any more than 2 Zerglings to be killing 1 baneling at a time, or a baneling to be killing more than 2 Zerglings at a time. Nonetheless, we are going to see these banelings trying to do damage, but there's absolutely no drones down here. We do see the expansion coming up for kILLeR as well, so he's going to try to transition out of this eventually. kILLeR's got to be very careful with his micro here. And we do see more banelings being morphed in for DRG. And right now, kILLeR is droning up. So it looks like he is going to take a econ lead while this aggression's happening. But as well, DRG realizing this is going to start adding in some drones for himself. With these 5 banelings, he's going to be pretty safe against all aggression. And I don't really like that whole using a baneling on 1 drone thing, but nonetheless, this is a very difficult style to control. He actually just used a baneling on the hatchery. Needs to be careful, needs to get some control over his units here, and he almost lost all of his Zerglings there, but he did indeed not lose them. He caught a couple drone kills. He's not in a terrible position, but it looks like a huge counterattack coming into the main base here now, and that's going to do a ton of damage because there are no Zerglings back here. The queen finally does pop out, but it looks like there's been a ton of damage done already. Killed all of the drones at the natural. We do see 2 banelings being morphed down in the bottom position, but they will be cleaned up. And 1 baneling does get in here, but not able to do that much damage. kILLeR in a decent position, but Dongrigu in somewhat of an advantage. We look, it's 3-3 on workers killed, and units killed just a little bit higher for Dongrigu, having a little bit better control here in that early game. Dongrigu also has a lot more drones than his opponent, and these roaches aren't going to really be able to be all that aggressive right now. So he's in a pretty tough spot right now. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple banelings being morphed in. We see one baneling over here for killer, but if he had two in this general area, it would be a little bit better. And dkiLLeR trying to be a little aggressive, but with these roaches out, it's not going to be able to work all that well. Killer really needs to try to do something to be able to get back into this game. We see 12 roaches in production for DRG. It looks like he's going to use his higher economy. Nice hit on 4 of those drones, but didn't have the second baneling to do the damage. Now, DRG is going to pump a ton of roaches here to be able to try to overwhelm his opponent because he was on such a big econ lead for such a long period in the game. We see he's still about 10 harvesters ahead. So if he can just throw units at his opponent and make it so that his opponent can't build any drones, eventually he's going to be able to wear his opponent out and win. And that's basically what he's trying to do at this point. So the income right now, 5 ahead for DRG. All he really needs to do is make it so that his opponent cannot build that many drones by trading very cost efficiently. And there's more units here for DRG, so he might just win the game outright. We see the banelings do connect with a lot of the roaches here, which will help him quite a bit in this engagement, but a lot of drones as well going down for dkiLLeR. And it looks like there's just going to be enough here to possibly break through. Behind this as well, he's getting his lair and more droning, so even if he doesn't kill him here, which he will not kill dkiLLeR here, but he's got a 20 drone lead now, and a tech advantage. Well, I guess dkiLLeR actually has his lair completed, but he hasn't done anything really to use it yet. Nonetheless, that 20 drone lead is pretty much a GG. At this point in the game, you can't play a mirror matchup with 20 drones behind and actually expect to beat your opponent. We do see Spire going up for DRG, so he's going to use one of those newer Zerg styles and go Muta. And it can be in a pretty interesting style. You just have to be very, very careful with it, not to get fungled if your opponent goes Infestors. We also see a gold base coming up for DRG. We actually see double expanding right now for DRG is. He knows these mutas are actually going to buy him a little bit of time, so he's going to try to use these mutas to be able to get these 2 expansions up as quickly as possible. It's a very nice play that he has right now, because there's absolutely nothing that dkiLLeR has to deal with muta right now. Looks like he's going to lose one Overlord, but he has plenty up. Actually, he will not lose that Overlord with these Zerglings controlling the map very well. And that Spire's finishing up just now. It looks like he's going to have enough for about 6 muta. And that will be enough to keep killer at home. It looks like he's just doing everything he can to buy some time until those expansions get up. Running these Zerglings in, going to try to kill off a couple drones, but really it was just to move this army back. And once these 6 muta get out, he's going to start to go to work on probably some of these Overlords, and that's going to force a reaction out of dkiLLeR. We also see 7 spine crawlers in production, so he's going to be absolutely safe against any frontal attack. And it looks like dkiLLeR's just going to go for it. And he's going to see that there's muta now, and that's just going to slowly be cleaned up. Even if these spine crawlers don't complete, it's just going to give the muta enough time to be able to clean up these roaches. And it looks like this should be GG here for killer shortly. He's going to try to do as much damage as possible with these roaches, but they will eventually get cleaned up, and then that counterattack is just going to be so strong from DRG. Killing off a couple drones here, but not even evening out the worker counts. And this is going to land DRG at about a 30 supply lead when it's all over. Huge drone transfer down to this gold base as well. All of the drones in the main base transferred down to the gold. And now we're going to take out a lot of these Overlords in the middle of the map, and that's going to do a ton of damage to killer right now. as well. We see a Hydralisk Den, but we don't actually see that many Spore Crawlers being thrown down. We see 2 in the natural, none in the main yet. So if these mutas do go into the main, which they are, he will actually be so far behind. He does not have any Spore Crawlers ready to deal with this, and this Queen is going to fall. This Hydra Den just popped. Now there's only 3 Hydras in production, and this Spore Crawler is trying to transfer, but it's going to get killed before it can actually get planted. He's going to lose 1 muta to that, and the other Spore Crawler does finally get completed, but he's going to be able to just kill off as many drones as he wants at the top of this base, and he's just losing so much right now. He's so far behind. And now there's this huge roach push as well. There's not enough roaches out to deal with this. As soon as those actually push in, it should spell GG for dkiLLeR. And I think that dkiLLeR is going to take this first game, pulling all of his drones, but he's double the supply of his opponent right now, dkiLLeR is. And looks like momentarily we are going to see a GG. GG for kiLLeR. dkiLLeR is going to take this first game. Going to jump into the second game in just a second. If you want to check that out, go to blip.tv/FrenzyStarcraft. And thanks for watching.